everyone. We are I the Mountain. Welcome to Momentum for Mike Morris. We're so happy to be here performing from Kitchener Center. This is Dreaming Out Loud.
Take your time, meet me by the hillside. Oh, my days, I've been dreaming of you. Follow the sun, meet me by the moonlight. So my days, I'm dreaming of you. And I can't keep on second guessing myself. I can't keep on living like I'm someone else. Whoa, 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 you got me dreaming out loud. Whoa, whoa, you got me dreaming out loud. Take your time at the seaside. So all my life I've been dreaming of you. Follow the sign on the green side. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for you. And I can't keep on second guessing myself. Keep on dancing like I'm someone else. Whoa, 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 got me dreaming out loud. Whoa, whoa.
Okay, now we need your help. You can sing along with us at home here. You can sing along in the comment section. We always love a good sing along, even a virtual one. Goes like this. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there when the sun comes out. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there when the sun comes out. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there when the sun comes out. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there when the sun comes out. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there when the sun comes out. I will be there when the sun goes down.
Whoa, 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 got me dreaming out loud. Whoa, whoa, got me dreaming out loud. Whoa, when the sun goes down. Whoa, got me dreaming out loud. Whoa, when the sun
You got me dreaming out loud.
when the sun goes down, I will be there. When the sun comes out, I will be there. When the sun goes down.
You got me dreaming out loud. We're gonna now pass things over to the other half of our band. We can't perform together tonight, so off to the other half of I the Mountain.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks so much for having us. This tune's called Playing in the Forest. The ground it rots underneath our feet. Our own top blood running through the streets. We bathe our skin when we cut a tree. The brittle bark covers up the seams. Joey sits down by the pond, waiting for a sign from God. Shooting a venture in the forest, my boy. The wilderness lies by the shore. Away from here, the fox What have we done to our land? Cutting pieces off our own loneliness. We paper skin, we cut a trees. The brittle bark covers up the seams. Joey sits down by the pond, waiting for a sign from God. Shouldn't have ventured in the forest, my boy. The wilderness lies by the shore. Away from here the foxes roar. Take your time, you'll deal it all. Take your time, no need to run. Playing in the forest is fun. Break a branch, wooden gun. Playing in the forest is fun. Take your time, no need to run. Playing in the forest is fun. Break a branch, wooden gun. Playing in the forest is fun. How's everyone doing tonight? Take your time, take your time. Oh, 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 take your time, take your time. Let the fires in the forest burn brightly. Take your time, take your time. Let the grass and the soil burn sidely. Take your time, take your time. Let the fires in the forest burn brightly. Take your time, take your time. Joey sits by the pond, waiting for a sign from God. Shouldn't have ventured in the forest, my boy. The wilderness lies by the shore. Away from here the foxes roar. Take your time, you get it all. Take your time, no need to run. Playing in the forest is fun. Break a branch, wooden gun. Playing in the forest is fun. Take your time, no need to run. Playing in the forest is fun. Break a branch, wooden gun. Playing in the forest is fun. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. That was amazing. Thank you. That was, again, I the Mountain. Thanks so much for sharing that high energy performance. It's the perfect way for us to start off our virtual event and get that small taste of live music that all of us are probably missing. Welcome, everyone. This is Momentum for Mike, a nomination celebration. My name is Roz, and I am delighted to be your MC tonight. I originally met Mike in probably over a decade ago when I was working as a reporter and interviewed him when he was setting up a little thing called Sustainable Waterloo Region. So tonight, it's my absolute pleasure to be celebrating alongside with him to celebrate his nomination as the next candidate in Kitchener Centre for the Green Party of Ontario in the of Canada for the next federal election. Before we get started, we do have a few virtual housekeeping items to cover off here. So one of them being for, if you're interested in participating in the chat, just a small note, we're getting so many amazing messages that are coming through. If you have something that you want to share with the entire audience, just make sure when you go down to the chat at the bottom of your screen, you are selecting to all panelists and attendees. If you have a private message that you want to share just to someone on Mike's team, or you have a question about something, then you can make sure in the chat that it just says to all panelists. That way someone from the team can help answer any question that you have, or if you just want to pass something along in private, you're more than welcome to do so that way. We are recording the event so that we can share highlights to a wider audience afterwards, but based on the format of this Zoom webinar, nobody here will be on camera if you're just joining us as an attendee. We are also activating the closed captioning. If you don't see that, you can click on the CC button again at the bottom of your screen. You have the option to select show subtitles to start viewing closed captioning. You can select to view a full transcript if that's easier, or you can opt out of the closed captioning if that's distracting for you to have at the bottom there. One last thing, if you're already engaging with us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook tonight, and you are using the hashtag Mike4KitSen, you can be entered to win a draw for a newly designed and locally made Mike Morris t-shirt, and we'll be unveiling a couple of designs over the coming weeks. Before we get started, it's important for us to acknowledge that with many of us joining from Kitchener Centre, we are in fact located on the Haldimand Tract. This is traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. We also recognize the contributions Indigenous peoples have made in shaping and strengthening our community. We are grateful for the opportunity to meet here tonight and acknowledge this in the interest of nurturing and seeking to live out a shared active hope that this conversation and the days ahead are part of a journey towards genuine truth and reconciliation. With that, I am delighted to invite Clarence Kakagi, who originates from Chapleau Cree First Nation, to perform a smudging ceremony and to speak to the land. Clarence, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Unmute, there we go. Thank you, Roz. And
Thank you.
I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. And yeah, what a beautiful, beautiful evening we're going to have. And I just want everybody to know that I'm with Mike. You know, I met this fine gentleman a while ago, and I was introduced to him from another really, really good friend of mine. And, you know, have you ever met those people where your spirits just connect and all of a sudden your spirits connect and your hearts connect and you just want to spend more time with these individuals? Well, Mike Morris is one of those men and individuals that I want to spend more time with because we have a lot in common. And it's an honor for me to be here today. Like Roz says, my name is Clarence Kakagi. I've been a visitor now in this part of creation for, I don't know, you could say just over 50 years. And I really love this community and this region. It gives me a sense of belonging and a sense of connectedness. With that, I'm going to say a prayer. I'm going to open this up with a prayer. I'm going to pray with this tobacco. Then I'm going to put the tobacco in this smudge bowl, and then I'm going to do a virtual smudge with everybody. And then I'm going to sing a song and say a couple words about the land. Wache, ane, boju, sego. I am Kiwe Tinwe in the Ne, from the people of the Mushkegowuk, people of the river, Fox Lake Reserve, Chapleau Cree First Nation, Bear Clan, and I'm a beautiful person. I'd like to acknowledge this life. I'd like to acknowledge this day. I'd like to acknowledge the air that I breathe and the food that I eat. I'd like to acknowledge the connectedness to the land, to creation, and to culture, and to our ancestors. I ask that the ancestors of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Neutral peoples be with us today. I ask that we be able to come together in peace, love, and harmony, and work towards a better future and a better understanding of what it means to be green. Oh. So as I light this smudge up, what we do is I have sage in here. I put in some sweetgrass, which is one of our medicines. Sage is one of our medicines. And I put in some lavender. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to virtually wash this smoke over you. I'm going to virtually wash this smoke over your hands so that anything you touch or create during tonight or the day, you'll touch it and create it in a good way, in a kind way. I'm then going to wash this smoke over your eyes so that anything that you see, you'll see it in a good way, in a kind way. I'm going to ask you to bring this smoke of the medicines up to your ears and cleanse your ears so that as you hear things throughout our time together tonight, you'll be able to process them and hear them in a good way. I'm going to ask you to wash the smoke over the top of your head. Ask you to wash the smoke over the top of your head so you can have good thoughts, kind thoughts, and that we can set our intentions for this evening. I'm going to ask you to pull the smoke of the medicine into your throat. We pull the medicine into our throat so that when we speak, we have a strong voice, and when we speak, we say kind words. And I'm going to ask you to pull that smoke of the medicine into your heart. So we have empathy, and we have love for ourselves and love for others. I like to pull this smoke right into my core so I can stay centered as I come out into this community and other communities as a helper. And then I wash the smoke down each one of my legs so that I can remember how sacred life is, each step as we walk on Mother Earth. And then I raise some smoke up to the Creator, and I push some smoke down to Mother Earth. That's the best way that I can bring us together in a virtual smudge. And it's an honor for me to do this for you, for Mike, and for everybody joining us tonight. As we acknowledge the land, and as we acknowledge the territories that the land is connected to, you know, I always have to remember how much sacrifices are made for us as human beings having a spiritual experience. And those sacrifices that our Mother, the Earth, gives us, some people take those for granted. And to be honest, sometimes I take those for granted. And that's when I need to slow down. I need to slow down. I need to go out into nature. I need to go out into the forests. I need to go out near the trees. I need to go out near the water. I need to see, I need to hear, I need to smell, and I just need to be at one with nature. At times, you know, things get taken for granted and things get taken away. And our natural resources get depleted and abused. And I pray for those. I pray for those natural resources. And I pray for the understanding that people will have that, you know, we can't keep going down this road that we're going on. Sooner or later, things aren't going to be the way they are today if we keep doing what we're doing. So with that, I always want to acknowledge what people are doing to make the world a better place. I want to acknowledge what Mike is doing. I want to acknowledge what the women are doing, what the men are doing, what the children are doing, what the elders are doing, and what each and every one of you are doing to try to preserve what we have. And, you know, with that, I always want to acknowledge the connectedness that we have to everything around us. The connectedness that we have to the two-legged, to the four-legged, to the winged ones, to the swimmers, to the crawlers, the connectedness that we have to the four winds, the connectedness that we have to the trees, to all living plants, to the rocks, to the minerals and the mountains and the rivers and the streams and the oceans, all as equals within that circle of life. So I'm going to sing this song. And this song is a thank you song. It's a thank you song that says thank you to the Creator for all the wonders and all the things that our Mother, the Earth, gives us. And our Mother, the Earth, is very kind and very gentle to us. And she gives us everything that we need to sustain life. And this song says thank you to the Creator for all the beauty that we get to see and be every day while we're living on this beautiful land. When we drum and when we sing, it's a form of prayer, and it's a way we give thanks. Normally, when I would sing that song, I would face the four directions. I would face the east and say thank you. I would face the south and say thank you. I would face the west and say thank you. And I would face the north and say thank you. I want to thank everybody for their time. It was an honor for me to be here tonight. It was an honor for me to sing and share that song. And that song was gifted to me and handed down by my friend Hilton King. So as we learn songs and as we sing them and as we share them, it's protocol that we address and acknowledge where we receive those songs from. Mike, you're an amazing man, and I wish you well. And it's an honor for me to be part of this. And I want to say Ginniskomatin, which is thank you in Cree, for letting me be a part of this. And I wish everybody well on tonight. And I'm not going to say goodbye, but I will see you someplace, sometime. And with that, until next time.
Well, thank you, Clarence. That was so powerful and inspiring, and we really appreciate you joining us tonight as well. Although this event is virtual, if you are outside of Kitchener Centre and you're interested in learning about the lands that you live on, we do encourage you to learn more after the event. One option being to visit a website called Whose Land, and I'll post a link for that in the chat as well. Up next, from British Columbia to Prince Edward Island and right here in Ontario, our next group of distinguished leaders are from the Green Party of Canada and the Green Party of Ontario, and they have some words to energize us.
My name is Abhijit Mane, and I'm the Deputy Leader of the Green Party of Ontario.
Hi there, I'm Anna Keenan, and I was the Green Party candidate in Molpec in 2019. That's on Prince Edward Island, and I've put in my nomination to be that candidate again in the next federal election.
I'm Paul Manley. I'm the Member of Parliament for Nanaimo Ladysmith.
My name is Phil DeLuna, and I'm looking to run as a candidate in Toronto St. Paul's for the next federal election.
Mike has always been a champion for the people of the Waterloo and Kitchener region. He would be an excellent MP for Kitchener Centre and be a representative for the community in the House of Commons.
I support Mike because he is a remarkable leader. He's knowledgeable, he's gentle, he's kind, and he's also courageous. He's really thoughtful and responsive.
I think Mike would be a fantastic representative for Kitchener Centre. He's got such great enthusiasm, and he's wants to be involved in his community in a deeper way. I know that Mike's been involved in the area for quite a long time. He's worked on environmental projects. He's worked with the community. He's got a track record, and he's going to represent you the way that you want to be represented.
I support Mike because Mike is going to win. He's going to be the next Member of Parliament in Kitchener Centre. I know that for a fact. We're building off of an amazing campaign that he ran last year, or in 2019, I should say. And the momentum is just so palpable. Mike is a leader in the community. He's passionate. He knows what he's doing. He has integrity, and he wants to work for the community of Kitchener Centre.
Mike had an amazing performance in the 2019 election. He lifted the vote so far, and I think surprised a lot of people. And it is absolutely achievable for Mike to get over the line and get into Ottawa, to become an MP, to join the Green Caucus, and to be that strong, independent, green, future forward-thinking voice that we need.
We need more leaders like Mike who want to work across party lines. That's the only way we're going to get things done in Parliament. The House of Commons is one of the most toxic workspaces in Canada. I tell you, it's rough. You want representatives who are involved in their community, connected to their community, who, reach out and understand what their community needs.
What we need in Parliament are more leaders who are focused on advocating for their community, who vote for their conscience and with their conscience, and who have the eye on the long-term view. By electing Mike to Parliament, we can be sure that we'll have a champion for the community who will vote in the interests of the community 100% of the time, and who will listen and be empathetic to the people that he serves.
Mike has been such an inspiration at Queen's Park. He's punched way above his weight. Mike Schreiner, that is, who's the MPP for Guelph, and he's really been an effective one-man caucus, really, of helping Ontarians advocate for things that they care about. And I think Mike Maurice will do the same thing for Kitchener Centre, because he is an equally just as well as capable advocate for all the causes that he believes in.
All of Mike's priorities resonate with me. These are all things that we need to work on in tandem. The Green Party is known for its stance on climate change and climate justice, but we need to make sure that we leave nobody behind. And the most vulnerable people in our communities are the ones that we have the greatest responsibility for. So people with diverse abilities, disabilities, seniors, single parent families, Indigenous people in our communities, those that are marginalized, the BIPOC communities. We need to stand up and work with those communities, to listen to those communities and do what's best for them.
The one thing that resonates with me is the Green New Deal, because I think the Green New Deal includes all of those things. I don't think a Green New Deal can exist by itself in a vacuum if it isn't including restorative justice, if it isn't including Indigenous, climate, racial, economic, political, social justice, and all these other issues that are tied to a more greener and more caring tomorrow.
I'm going to pick out the priority that Mike set for creating a more just and democratic society. As Greens, we are champions of personal democracy, local democracy, and fair, truly democratic systems where we're all heard, where every citizen has an equal say, where money or lack of money or social privilege or your race or your gender or your sexuality does not automatically give you more or less of a say than anybody else. So equality, fairness, true democracy, where communities and people have the resources they need to make decisions for themselves, and where that corporate capture and control of our communities is limited and really kept under control.
They all resonate. And I think that's what's great about Mike's platform, is that he's identified exactly the gaps that we need to fill and exactly the challenges that we need to solve to face the crisis that we do now.
Thank you so much to all four of you for taking the time to participate in our event this evening as well. The leader of the Green Party of Ontario, Mike Schreiner, has been a guiding light in our province, speaking out on every issue from prioritizing essential workers during COVID-19 to protecting our green belt. Mike is not only the leader of the Green Party of Ontario, but as a representative for Guelph, he was also the first Green MPP elected to the provincial legislature. In 2018, he secured an impressive 45% of the vote in his riding. Please join me. I'm so excited to be welcoming MPP and leader of the Green Party of Ontario, Mike Schreiner.
Thank you,
Hi, Mike.
Rosalind. Hey, how are you?
I'm
Thanks
good.
for that
How are
kind
you?
introduction.
Our pleasure. Thanks for coming. I'll hand it over to you now.
Thanks. Here's where I would say, give it up for Mike Morris, and you would all cheer if we were in the pre-times, but I guess you're just all going to have to virtually cheer for Mike. And before I begin, Clarence, I just wanted to say how moved I was by your song and by your wise words, and especially your message of being one with nature. I can't tell you how many times when we have that toxic workplace experience that Paul Manley talked about at Queen's Park, the getting back in nature restores and revitalizes me. And I just want to say that we're all treaty people. I'm speaking to you from the Treaty 3 lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. And just to affirm my commitment to honoring our treaties and moving forward with the truth and reconciliation process. And I can't tell you all how excited I am to have Mike run again. And Rosalind, there was a second I got really excited when you said for the Green Party of Ontario, and I know you quickly corrected yourself, but I think Mike will make an amazing voice for Kitchener Centre in Ottawa. And he laid the foundation in the 2019 election to win in the next federal election. And what I like about Mike so much is that he has a proven track record to get things done by building community, by bringing people together, and by building bridges across the different divides in our society. And I realized this almost the minute I first met Mike when he was working at Sustainable Waterloo a number of years ago. And I thought and was inspired by the fact that here is somebody who's bringing people together who wouldn't normally work together to build a more sustainable Waterloo region and to really come up with concrete ways of addressing the climate crisis. And I think we need more of Mike's voices and the kinds of people like Mike in Ottawa, because the only way I think we're going to address things like the climate and ecological crisis, the housing crisis, the crisis around income inequality and systemic racism, and addressing the democratic deficit is to have politicians who are willing to work across party lines, who are willing to work across divides in our society to bring people together to address some of the most pressing challenges we face and to build a greener and more caring Canada. And we need more people like Mike who base their decisions on community, on what his constituents need and want, on science, on evidence, on the public interest, and not based on partisan politics. And I can tell you, my first few years at Queen's Park, we have far too much hyper-partisan politics in our political system today. And I can tell you that from my own experience. I mean, nobody would confuse me as somebody who hasn't been a harsh critic of the Ford government, who hasn't fought against many of the Ford government's attacks on policies that support the most vulnerable, his dismantling of environmental protections, his rollback of climate action. But I will also tell you that when I've had an opportunity to work across party lines with the Ford government or members of the Ford government in a way that would actually advance green values, our Green Party's vision, what my constituents in Guelph want, I've done it. And one example is, I worked with a member of the Conservative Caucus to pass the first green private members bill in Ontario's history, a bill to help and support electric vehicle drivers. And I remember at the time how much heat I took from the official opposition. Why would you work with this party you've been so critical about on their rollback of renewable energy, EV incentives, climate action, etc.? Why would you give them a win on electric vehicles? And I said to them, it's because this is something my constituents want. This is something that will make Ontario a better place. This is a small step towards reducing climate pollution in our transportation system. And if I can advance a few steps forward, I'm going to do the hard work to make that happen. I did the same thing when the parties were bickering last summer around what a commercial eviction ban would look like to support small businesses and make sure that they were not evicted if they weren't able to pay their rent during the pandemic. And I said to all the other parties, I said, you know what, we have to stop this bickering. And we have to just deliver the support small businesses need right now. And what is on the table isn't exactly what I want. Matter of fact, I don't think it goes far enough. But you know what? If we can advance things, if we can protect small businesses right now, then we should do it. And all of you should stop fighting and let's just do this through unanimous consent so we can get what small businesses need right now. And that's what small businesses in my riding were telling me needs to happen. And we got it done. When I think of the Ford government's proposal to build Highway 413, which would pave over 2,000 acres of the Greenbelt or of prime farmland and 400 acres of the Greenbelt, I started working with Greens doing news conferences opposed to it. And I was told by a number of local mayors who were supporting our effort that, you know what, you can't, I appreciate you fighting this, but you can't stop it, Mike. It's going to happen. And we didn't take no for an answer. Instead, we built a citizens movement of people across the whole region, putting pressure on provincial politicians and local politicians, getting local politicians and municipal councils passing resolutions opposing the highway, and ultimately calling for a federal environmental assessment, which is happening right now, and which I'm hoping is going to halt this highway. But it takes politicians like Mike Morris, who can build citizens movements, who can work across party lines, who can build consensus and build bridges across divides in our society to build the kinds of citizens movements that can then have a direct impact on political decisions. And that's the kind of champion that Kitchener Centre needs. That's the kind of champion that we need in Ottawa to join an amazing Green Party caucus who punches well above its weight, to support an inspiring leader in Annamie Paul, to build on the legacy of our previous Green Party of Canada leader, Elizabeth May, to build the kind of Canada that we want to live in, the kind of Canada that's going to address our climate obligations, the kind of Canada that's going to build a just and more democratic society, the kind of Canada that's going to leave a livable future for our children, grandchildren, and the next 7 generations. And I've worked with Mike. I've knocked on doors with Mike. I've attended meetings in tent cities in Kitchener with Mike. I've met with the most vulnerable with Mike. I've met with municipal councillors and business leaders with Mike. And all of them have talked about what an amazing person he is, what an inspiring leader he is, what a community and people focused politician that he is, and what a tremendous voice he would be in making a difference in Ottawa. And so tonight, let's build momentum for Mike. Let's build momentum for the next MP for Kitchener Centre, Mike Morris. And I'm honored to be a part of building that momentum. And I want to say thank you to all the volunteers who are doing the hard work to build the momentum for Mike's campaign, to put on tonight's event, all those volunteers who I knocked on doors with in the last election, and to Mike for inspiring all those volunteers. I remember when he asked me what it would take to win. And I said, Mike, you have to inspire 500 volunteers to go out and campaign for you. And that's exactly what he's done. And that's exactly what he will continue to do. And your efforts, each and every single one of you, making a donation, knocking on a door, putting up a sign, being a part of this campaign, you're the ones who are making a difference, who are going to change Canada in the way we need. One vote at a time, one door knock at a time, and one MP like Mike Morris at a time. So thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Be safe, be well. Merci, Megwich.
Thanks so much, Mike. We really appreciate having you tonight. And we're so fortunate to be hosting both the leader of the Green Party of Ontario, as well as the leader of the Green Party of Canada here tonight, who will be joining us in just a few minutes. Just as Mike Schreiner is saying here, it was true in 2019, and it will be true again in the next election. Community is really at the heart of a campaign. We have a few of our local community members who wanted to share some words about Mike's growing momentum with us now.
Hello, my name is Joanne Fortier, and I'm a resident of Kitchener. I'm a retired pharmacist, and I've been working with the Mike Morris campaign in 2019. We've done a lot of work together, working on his French, and I've been doing translation work for him since.
My name is Nadim Lauji, and I work in a library here in Waterloo Region, and I've been a community member in different groups around Kitchener since my university days.
My name is Abhilasha Devan. I go by Abhi. I've been a Kitchener resident for about 4 years now. By trade, I'm a freelance animator, illustration artist, and also I've been involved with some local climate action work.
When he came to my door, I had been voting for the same party for years and years, and that was before the election, quite a bit before the election. That was in June, at the beginning of June, and this guy shows up at my door, this young man, and I'm thinking, wow, first thing is like he's coming to my door and he's asking me what I'm thinking, and he wants to know what's important to me and not necessarily trying to throw me information about his party. And the minute I had this conversation with him for about 15 minutes, which I thought was unbelievable, he made me believe that there was something in politics that I could relate to.
So I support Mike because Mike is someone that I've known on a personal level for a number of years, and he's accomplished a lot in all that time, but also he's someone he's got a lot of honesty and integrity, and that's sort of one reason why I've stayed tight with him.
We're living in a very crucial time of the climate crisis as we're fighting our way out of the pandemic. And we need leadership and political representatives that will steer Canada towards solutions that are just, equitable, and sustainable. And Mike is that leader.
Well, I think all of them are important, but I would say helping people in vulnerable positions is probably something that I personally have worked with and feel strongly about. I think inequality plays a really strong role in what kind of opportunities people end up having in life. So for someone to recognize that there are inequalities in our society and to sort of target how to approach that and have that vision, I think is really important. And that's something Mike has always been open to.
I think the Green New Deal is, for me, probably the start. I mean, that's, of all his priorities, that's probably the one I think resonates the most for me. I am a green person in many ways. I believe in clean energy and that sort of thing, and I've been trying my very best to put my money where my mouth is. We are very proud of this, and I think that's the way, but we have to get the whole country behind it.
All of the above, can I say that? I mean, those issues are connected, and they're interconnected, and they're supremely important right now, especially as we're trying to recover from a global pandemic. While climate change is barreling down on all of us, these are big issues, and they need to be addressed in a way that puts communities first. I think the momentum building for Mike is not a vision of the future. It's present now, and it has been since it started. Everyone was taking out time from their busy lives to be there because we all knew we were building something very real. Mike shows up for communities. He is a part of and present in so much great work that's happening in our region.
Yeah, I think that what Mike did last time, it definitely put the Green Party on the map locally, but also I think showed a lot of people that there's other options. It's not just a sort of a liberal stronghold. There are people looking for some change, and I think Mike really brought that. I think that was something that he did himself. He obviously had a great team, but being able to knock on doors the way Mike did and sort of hit that grassroots momentum and take it into the community was I think it showed a lot of people that there is other ways to doing politics, and I think Mike is open to that.
Last campaign, we met with a lot of people canvassing. We met with a lot of people who had doubts, and I would have been the first one if I had not been canvassing. I think a lot of people were sort of teetering right on the fence, and they were not sure what to do. I think right now they know they should have voted Green. Most likely, all these people who had doubts in 2019 are going to move our way. I'm sure about that because it just makes sense.
Thank you to all three of you for sharing your thoughts with us tonight. We'll be joined by Mike himself in just a few minutes after our next guest, who I am thrilled to have taking the virtual stage. The leader of the Green Party of Canada, Annamie Paul, is a lawyer and served as an advisor at the International Criminal Court. She was the international affairs critic in the Green Party, speaks 4 languages. Annamie has a truly impressive list of accolades and an ambitious vision which propelled her to win the 2020 Green Party of Canada leadership election. I am so excited for her to share her vision for the Green Party as the most diverse, democratic, and daring political party. Please join me in welcoming the leader of the Green Party of Canada, Annamie Paul.
Thank you so much, and thank you for that very kind introduction. It's such a pleasure to be with all of you virtually, and what a wonderful video. My name is Annamie Paul, for those who I'm meeting virtually for the first time. I am here on the traditional territories of the Mississauga of the Credits, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Huron-Wendat, which I acknowledge and say with a great deal of gratitude. And it is just wonderful to be part of your celebration and to be able to have tuned in time to see that fantastic video setting out all the reasons that you all have to be incredibly excited about what is to come next. In terms of the vision for the party, it's really our vision. It's a shared vision which, particularly at this moment, has proven its worth, proven its value, proven how it can make a difference in people's lives. And when I say that, I mean the Green Party of Canada, but of course I also mean the Green Party of Ontario. I mean all of our provincial cousins, those places where we even have Greens elected at the municipal level. We all have a shared vision, which is very much focused around ensuring that everyone in our country and around the world can live a life of dignity, that we have a way of living that is sustainable, that reflects the finite resources of our planet, and that ensures that, again, we all have the security and dignity throughout our lives. And that really is what the next election is going to be about. It's going to be about getting people excited about a vision of the future. One that leaves us better prepared, one that builds on our strengths, one that is more inclusive. And so when we talk about diversity and democracy and daring, those should run through all of the themes of everything that we do. In terms of our party over the last little while, we've really been trying to live those values. In terms of diversity, just to point out a couple of things in particular, we had and continue to have our Time to Run campaign, which has attracted hundreds of new applicants to be contestants in ridings across the country for the Green Party. An incredibly diverse group of people. The Green Party should always be striving to be the most diverse party in Canadian politics. And this was a way of us making a huge leap forward in a short period of time and letting diverse people know that we really value their leadership and that there is a place for them in our party. And so I'm very excited as we have nomination contests across the country to introduce you to some of the people that came to us through that campaign and to welcome them into the Green Party and into the Green family. We also have had our open recruitment for our shadow cabinet, the first time we've ever done that as a party as well. And the same thing, a tremendous response from people who really, many of them just needed to be asked. And they have such extraordinary talent. We had over 150 applications for those roles. And we are really excited to be putting together a team that is truly going to showcase the breadth and the depth of talent which we have in our party, which is absolutely extraordinary. And you know, those people are really eager to put it to work for all of you, and to help to build a team of brain trust and knowledge clusters around their portfolios that includes green members, so that they can also contribute their talent between policy conventions and just on a more regular basis. And when we speak about democracy, this is always a great opportunity to highlight the work that we're doing on the policy front, the work that we're doing during this session of Parliament, which is winding down. And you know, once it rises later in June, we may be in an election before it comes back. And so this is the time for us to really be pushing to make sure that all of those people who continue to fall through the cracks during this incredibly difficult time, and there are many more people than one imagines, that they get the help that they need, and that we continue to push for it until it materializes. Whether it's post-secondary students that still don't have summer jobs, that had to take on more debt and don't have their benefit this summer, whether it's all of the thousands of Ontarians that are at risk of eviction once the national moratoriums on evictions get lifted, whether it is those who continue to suffer under the opioid epidemic, which has doubled the rates of toxic poisonings in Ontario over the course of the pandemic. There's still so much work that we need to do to protect people now. And then also to talk about how we are going to build that just society in the future with a complete social safety net, and where we have bent the curve definitively on greenhouse gas emissions and transformed our economy towards a truly green economy, which is absolutely the economy of the future, and that Canada can be a global leader in. And so for me, where does Kitchener Centre come into this? Kitchener Centre comes right at the heart of all of this. I was there in 2019 when you had record-breaking results, when we saw, as we heard in the video, people really seeing the potential for the Green Party in Kitchener Centre. Since that time, the momentum clearly has just grown and grown and grown. It's incredibly exciting to see how you have stayed organized, how you have continued to be a presence in your community, how you've continued to demonstrate the value of being represented by Greens and what it could mean to the residents of Kitchener Centre to have a Green Member of Parliament. And so as we move towards the next election, whether it's in the next few months or whether it's a bit later this year, I'm really excited to be supporting the work that you're going to be doing to get a Green MP elected in Kitchener Centre. Exactly because I know that we're so close, and people who should have voted for us the last time and might have considered it and decided that it was only going to be a protest vote, it wasn't going to be worth it. They can see how close we came. They can see how their vote would have made a difference. And those people, if we give them the reasons to be daring, to take that leap, to see that we are proposing policies that can make a difference in their lives, to see what real representation looks like for them, those are the people that will show up for Kitchener Centre. And so for me, as someone who is going to be running in Ontario, certainly one of the reasons that I wanted to run in Ontario was to help candidates across Ontario, to be there to support them virtually if we're forced to, but physically if the circumstances of the pandemic allow. And I'm so excited to do that. I'm so excited to work with my EDA to support your EDA. I'm so excited to see what we can do as EDAs to support the other EDAs in and around ours, and help to grow the momentum in all of the different parts of Ontario that I just know that we can. And of course, so many of us who are members of the Green Party of Canada are also members of the Green Party of Ontario. And so if we do a good job, it can only help us to build momentum that Mike and the Green Party of Ontario can take into the next election. And I'm really excited about that. We need to have Green voices at every level of government, working together, showing a new way of doing politics, a new culture for politics, something that is more collaborative and cooperative and hopeful. And anything that we do over the next 6 months or so will help give an additional boost to the Green Party of Ontario, which is very important to me. So all that to say, I can't wait to get started with all of you. I can see that you're off to a tremendous start. I'm excited to be a part of it. I can tell you that you have Green Party members across Ontario and across the country that are rooting for you, that are modeling their work after you, that are looking to you for inspiration, that are looking to you as an example of what can be done when Greens come together and work to build something together. And so on their behalf, I say thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for all that you're doing for your community. I can't wait to get started with you. And I really hope that you continue to enjoy this celebration. It just seems like such a wonderful event. Oh, someone asked in the chat, how many people have joined? There's we hit almost 200 a little while ago. So this is a pretty incredible turnout and I feel incredibly energized by it. And with that, I think that I have, if I'm reading my notes correctly, I have the privilege of inviting Mike to take the center stage and to share his vision for Kitchener Centre. Mike, we're with you. We can't wait to hear what you have to say. And with that, I will pass it over to you.
Enemy, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Thank you, of course, also to I, the Mountain, to all three Matts, Rory, and Allison. Thanks, Roz, for moving us through this evening. Clarence, for opening us up in such a good way. Thank you, Paul, Phil, Abhijit, and Anna, for your words from across the country, for your support. Thank you to Nadim, Abi, and Joanne, from your words from our community. And again, Mike, for being a part of this, and Elizabeth as well. Et merci à vous tous qui vous êtes joints à nous ce soir pour participer à cette célébration. Last time we came together in an event like this a couple of years ago for a party of this kind, it was a bit different. I had just wrapped up a decade of community organizing, first starting Sustainable Waterloo Region, then sharing the model across the country through Green Economy Canada. And I was frustrated with the pace of progress while also recognizing that we need policymakers to recognize the scale of the crises we face and to respond collaboratively and move past all the partisanship that seems to be getting in the way. And I felt a real sense of calling towards that. And that's part of what brought me and so many of you to Descendants on Victoria back in March of 2019. And many of you that are here tonight were there as well will remember I talked at that time about active hope, that rather than kind of crossing our fingers and hoping things might be different on election day, I invited you to join me in making it happen, knowing that that would send ripples across our community. Et vous avez été tellement nombreux, des milliers de personnes à travers notre communauté à répondre par un soutien massif. It's why together we did something very few predicted, if any. We did something incredible together, and we did it by focusing on the best of our democracy, by earning the trust of our neighbors, by knocking on tens of thousands of doors, whether it was in the nicest of days or the pouring rain, on the brutally hot days, you name it. In my case, working through 3 pairs of shoes in the process and enjoying every minute of it. Whether it's the folks that joined us to be making thousands of calls and putting up thousands of signs, in some cases painting entire streets and neighborhoods green. We listened and we learned from our neighbors, whether it was over kitchen tables or in backyards, whether it was even on social media or at people's front doors. That active hope rippled out across our community, and by election day, we saw the Green vote in Kitchener Centre increase by over 13,000 over the last election, the largest jump of any Green riding in the country. And we did it one conversation at a time. Now, since then, the concerns that we heard from our neighbors have only been made worse, whether it is looking at housing affordability as prices have gone through the roof while incomes have flatlined, leading to young couples like Dave and Meg, some good friends of mine, who I think were just outbid for the 14th time and now are considering whether they're even welcome in our community. Or a couple I met in 2019 who were precariously housed at the time on the affordable housing waitlist, and they still are, with no end in sight. Ou aussi la pollution climatique de notre pays qui continue d'augmenter malgré les avertissements clairs des scientifiques, des dirigeants autochtones et des jeunes qui nous disent que nous approchons du point de non-retour. All that made worse by staggering wealth inequality, where in this pandemic alone, billionaire wealth has gone up 40% at a time when now upwards of 53% of Canadians are on the brink of financial insolvency. We know it doesn't have to be this way. We know that we can do better. And we know we do that one conversation at a time. Since the last election, so many of you have joined me in reaching out, in supporting those on the front lines, and putting a spotlight on the challenges and the solutions in our community. We've hosted dozens of online conversations with local experts on topics ranging from ending gender-based violence to addressing systemic and anti-Black racism, to welcoming refugees, supporting a thriving arts community, addressing the opioid epidemic, and addressing the gaps in our healthcare. Nous avons célébré d'incroyables petites entreprises et organisations communautaires qui font un travail fantastique, mais qui ont plus que jamais besoin de notre soutien. By listening, by building coalitions, and by advocating, we've been doing the job that our MP and their team should be doing. We've proposed solutions to the top priorities of our neighbors, solutions that are intersectional, that are pragmatic, and that we know from knocking on doors are widely supported across our community. Solutions like addressing housing unaffordability by advocating for policies that put homes for people first, ahead of commodities for investors, by introducing a guaranteed livable income for all and strengthening the social safety net, by listening to calls from Black, Indigenous, and racialized community members to reallocate persistent police budget increases towards upstream community services that would get at the root causes of crime. And of course, aligning our policy aspiration with climate science, centering Indigenous knowledge, and moving towards an economic mobilization at the scale of a Green New Deal. Et aussi être honnête sur la façon dont nous pourrions payer pour ces investissements importants, en mettant des milliards de dollars, mettant enfin des milliards de dollars de subventions aux combustibles fossiles, en supprimant les lacunes fiscales des entreprises et en introduisant une nouvelle imposition progressive sur les plus riches du pays. Now, we are at the precipice of bringing our priorities and solutions to Ottawa. 2 years on since that night at Descendants, this active hope has continued to ripple out across our community into a wave that's now about to crest. Now we are positioned to win, as you've heard, just as Mike in Guelph did and Elizabeth in years before that. Tout comme ce fut le cas en 2019, nous devons démontrer à nos voisins que notre campagne est digne de leur soutien. This time, though, we're not starting at the back of the pack. Instead, we can keep building on the momentum you've all been a part of. Back in 2019, I was calling hundreds of Greens to introduce myself for the first time. Now, it's been 6 months where many longtime Greens have been among the 45 people who've already made 2,000 calls across our community. Or last time when we were knocking on doors and when we would meet a supporter and ask them if they might consider taking a lawn sign. This time around, we've already been calling hundreds of supporters, hundreds of which who've now already confirmed, of course, they're in to take a lawn sign again. Or last time when we hoped we might attract the attention of the party and other ridings across the country. And now we already are hearing from volunteers across the country asking about their interest in coming in to support our campaign as well, because they know that we have a shot to win. Which brings me back to all of you and to that same invitation, which is to join this wave and help us earn this breakthrough that we're on the cusp of. Be it with your money in terms of making a financial contribution, or with your time in terms of contributing as a volunteer, be it in terms of engaging with friends and family and hosting a backyard chat so that I can hear their priorities, or letting others know you support by again taking a lawn sign. Thanks to you, in 2019, we proved in Kitchener and across the country that voting Green is a viable option to win in Kitchener. We know that politics as usual is not enough, that we need to do better. Et en 2019, les gens à qui nous avons parlé ont été très clairs que Kitchener Centre est prêt pour un changement. Together, we can double down on our efforts. We can build on that momentum, and we can bring our community's voice to Ottawa, and we're going to do it one conversation at a time. Thank you so much for being with us. Again, I'll pass it back to Ross.
Thanks, Mike. We have one more special guest with us. During the 2019 campaign that Mike is referring to and the momentum that we started to build at that time, the Elizabeth May, the MP for Saanich Gulf Islands, facilitated a brilliant live auction at our kickoff event, which was in person, of course, then here in Kitchener. Tonight, I would like to invite Elizabeth to bring that same energy to us over Zoom. She's an absolute pro at this and helped us kickstart Mike's campaign in 2019 with a solid base. The team has set a goal of raising $25,000 tonight, and we've already been seeing some early donations rolling in. Please join me in welcoming MP Elizabeth May to the virtual stage, and she will provide a little bit more information on how exactly this will work, being the pro at it as she is. Thanks so much for coming.
Oh, no, thanks, Roz. I want to let you know that I'm on the traditional territory of the Saanich Nation. Saanich Gulf Islands, my riding, Saanich is actually a mispronunciation of the First Nations Wasanuk. I raise my hands to you, Haishka Siam, in that language, which is the local language, which is Sanchofan. What fun tonight. Now, I have to say, Mike Schreiner and Mike Morris and I were together, believe it or not, almost 2 years ago today. That was the date of the big launch in Kitchener Centre. That was May 16th, 2019. We were at a place called Catalyst something. Someone from Kitchener Centre will remember. The place was packed. How many of you were there? I wish we could all see your hands up. We were like 400 people packed in this hall, and a lot of other candidates from the area were thinking, oh my, this campaign is going to go somewhere. And of course, I talked to Mike ahead of time and was, his former leader, the #1 arm twister. And I want to say shout out to Annamie Paul, our wonderful new leader, which is why we're going to do so much better in the next election, because we're going to elect Annamie in Toronto Centre, which means we are going to lift the vote for all the other Ontario Green candidates. And Mike, having taken it from 3% of the vote in 2015 when he wasn't the candidate, 2019, 26% of the vote, from 4th place to 2nd place. People didn't think it could be done. No one's going to deny or doubt that in the next election, whenever it may be, maybe 2021, maybe it slides into 2022, whenever it happens, Annamie Paul will be leading a caucus of Greens in Parliament. And that caucus of Greens will include Mike Morris as the MP for for Kitchener Center. Mike, you'll get sick of not hearing your own name because every time the speaker calls on you will be the honorable member for Kitchener Center. That is your new name. So let's raise that money. And I don't think 25,000 is a high enough goal. We're just going to go for it. So here's how it works. Dutch auction idea is that in the Netherlands, they used to, well, they still do. They auction the most valuable tulips first and they work down. Now, this event is truly green. You are going to be bidding in an auction and you will not have to take any junk home. This is not an acquisitive auction. It's not a consumeristic auction. You are going to bid for your own future. So all you have to do, start at the highest number of what's legally allowed by Elections Canada. Now, what we're going to do is we've got people watching on the chat. You've just put in the chat, okay, I'm in. I'm putting in for, and we're going to start with the top number and work our way down. And as you probably know, Elections Canada gives very generous rebates. If you're a taxpayer, you'll be getting a rebate on what you donate. I hope someone's going to post it in the chat so I don't have to keep pointing out how much you're going to get back on your donation. We're going to start at the top number. There is no shame in nobody bidding. I mean, the numbers are big. Well, I'm going to start big and work down, okay? Everybody ready? Okay, here we go. Anybody want to donate the maximum $1,650 is what's legally allowed by Elections Canada to donate to Kitchener Center. I should cover that if you want to donate to more than one riding, and I'm limited in what I can give to Mike because I already donated $1,000 to Toronto Center. But anyway, your maximum for all the ridings put together is $1,650. Okay, who's up for $1,650? Let's go for it. $1,650 going once, going twice. Volunteers, do you see $1,650 anywhere? We're going to drop to $1,200. Who's going to donate $1,200 in order to see Mike Morris, the MP for Kitchener Center? 1,200, 1,200. Okay, we're going to drop to 1,000. Oh, Tom and Pat already contributed over the last several weeks. Thank you so much. That's excellent news. Who's up for $1,000? $1,000 is a great, nice round number, and you do get your rebate. I think it's going to cost you about $600 to donate $1,000, if I've got that right. So $1,000 once, $1,000 twice. Okay, $1,000. Thank you, Daniel Williams. Hooray. Thank you. $1,000 on the board. Anybody else at $1,000? Going to drop. Oh, yes to $1,200. Thank you, Benjamin. Yay, $1,200 on the board. So now we're up to $2,200 by my count, but I can't see all the other things that are going on. Okay, let's go to the next level. $800 donation. Anybody at $800? $800 donation? $800? Yes, I'm seeing that. Yes, someone's asking, please post your donations. Put your full name because there's a lot of people out there named Matt. We want to make sure we know who is the $800 donation. Yvonne for $800. Thank you so much. Keep coming. Why are we not seeing the total going into that little? Are we going to see totals as we go, volunteers? Okay, another one. Susan donated $1,000 earlier today. That's fantastic. Thank you. Okay, we've gone from 800. We're going to drop to 600. $600 donation. Please, let's put that number up there. $600 donation. Oh, we're already at $3,500. That's excellent. That's excellent. So $600 donations. Who's up for $600? $600 going. Oh, we will donate 600. Thank you, Asha. $600. That's another one up there. We're over $4,000 now. Let's see if we can get more. $800 from Ruth and Eric Hunsberger. Yes, thank you. Hooray. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we're getting close to the $5,000 mark. Let's get past $5,000 as quickly as possible. $400 from Barry. Thank you. Well, I hadn't said 400 yet. I was still at 600. Okay, I'll drop to 500. Who's going to give $500 right now? Let's see your name up on the board. You'll feel so good. $500, $500. Thank you, Scott Morton. Thank you. $500 on the board. We're up at 40. I think we're up, and then we're, oh, good. Okay. $500 from Bryant and Sarah White. Thank you. We're over $5,000 now for sure. Our wonderful volunteers are catching up. Isabel is $1,000 from the Ottawa area. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. Okay, now I'm going to drop to $500 checking. Okay, 500 again. Sarah and Lena are in for $500. Thank you, Scott and Sarah. And now I'm going to go to the $400 mark, which people will remember is the sweet spot. 75% back. If you donate $400, it will cost you $100. That's right. Only $100 after tax costs to donate $400. So let's go with it. Come. Oh, thank you, Sue Klassen. $400. Who's up for $400? Cost you $100 after taxes. This is wonderful. You're taking money away from Justin Trudeau before he can spend it on the Trans Mountain Pipeline. Come on, $400. Let's get those in, as many as possible. Hillary, and thank you. Someone just did a $500. By the way, even though I've skipped over $1,650, you can still do it if you're feeling excited now that you see the numbers piling up. $400 from Samantha Davies. Thank you so much. $400 from Wayne Cheater. This is fantastic. Come on, $400 donations. Let's bring them on home. Bring them on home. This is ridiculous. Hey, just me yelling at you. Okay, who else? Who else is going to donate that $400? Oh, je veux dire en félicitations à Joanne Fortier parce qu'elle a amélioré le français de Mike Morris. C'est incroyable. Mike, tu parles français de façon excellente. So thank you to Joanne Fortier, the volunteer we saw on video. I think she's the one who's been helping Mike get that French because he's going to need it in Parliament. Okay, $400 again from Bruce and Roseanne Gregg. Thank you. We're really piling it on here. We're over the $10,000 mark, but we got to keep going here. Okay, let's see who we got. Kathy Scott for $600. Thank you, Kathy. That's fantastic. Okay, anyone else wanted, while we're still on the $400 mark? Oh, yes, she says, Joanne says that Mike is a good student. Il est un étudiant excellent, pas comme moi. Je fais toujours mon possible, mais je veux améliorer mon français à niveau bilingue. So we have to keep going on. God, Anime's French is so great. By the way, she also speaks Spanish and Catalan. That's going to come in really handy after they separate. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, I'm probably going to get in political trouble for that line. Anyway, never mind. $400, more $400. Andrew Palmer, thank you. It's coming in from across the country. This is great. Who else wants to donate while we're at the $400 mark? All right, I'm going to drop to 300. Time to drop to 300. Oh, Kent, $400. Okay, now we go to $300. $300 donations again gets you a 75% back, which means your cost is only $75. $300. Anyone at $300 will cost you 75. 300 cost you 75. Let's see how that's going. We have a lot of comments in the chat. Excellent. We're at $12,200, as everyone can see, but I think it's actually a little more than that. We're having trouble catching up. I'm trying to keep notes as I go. All right. Anyone else at $300? Cost you 75? Anyone else? Thank you from Sarah to Sarah Brubacher for a $300 donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. $400 from Matt Rodriguez. Thank you so very much. This is fantastic. We're going to get over 15,000 very soon, and I really love that. When we get $300 from Kathy Lawrence. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much. This is going quite well. I wish Mike had his camera on too, so we could both be sharing the excitement. Okay, who's next? $300, $300. Okay, I'm going to drop to $400 from Laura Kennedy. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to drop to $200. $200 is going to cost you $50. Let's go for this. $200 from Maya Lindsley. Rebecca McElroy will donate $200. Thank you, Rebecca. $200 will cost you $50, 75% rebate. Who's up for $200? Oh, $300 from Judy. Oh, $300 from Ian goes to an earlier. Okay, I won't read all those. Hey, Mike, there you are. Okay, come on, let's bring it on home. Who else is going to give? Oh, $400 from Sarah Brown. Come on, Mike, for the win. Come on, pull it on in here. $600 from Kathy Scott. Thank you. $400 from Shirley Murdoch. This is great. We're getting close to we're at 15,200, but I think we're got to catch up there. $400 from Sarah Brown. Thank you, Sarah. Okay,
so Elizabeth,
Mike.
I have some fun news to share for you here. In addition to all these friends who are contributing now live, we shared with a number of other folks that we were going to be having this $25,000 goal over the last few weeks. And those folks over the last few weeks contributed in advance of this evening at $12,600. We just didn't want to tell you that part, Elizabeth, so that you would help us to.
Well, I figured 25,000 was too small a goal with almost 200 people online. So there you go. Woohoo! Well, Mike, look at that. Okay, look where we are now. Look at where we are now. That is fantastic news.
Thanks for all of your support tonight. Elizabeth, you did this
Parth is one of
for
my
us.
young volunteers from my riding. Parth just gave $10 from out here in Saanich Go-Fal. Parth is a very young volunteer and very dedicated, one of my best canvassers. Sorry, Mike, I just had to, a little shout out to everybody.
Thank you, Parth. Thanks to each of you that contributed. I see Isabel from Ottawa and Sarah Brown and the rest. I think Greg behind the scenes can also flip us over to the total goal as well. So this was the goal for this evening. Many of you will know that we've been, a number of you have been contributing as well earlier back in 2020, making the most of your investment at that time. And so with your support tonight, we are now already in May, before there's even a whisper of an election yet, over halfway towards what we raised last time, which is our goal again this time. We raised 140,000, which allowed us, whether it was renting the office space right downtown or the core staff team or all those thousands of lawn signs, we paid for that with your support last time. That was the 140,000. That's the goal again. And with your support tonight, we're already over halfway there. So thank you all for your support again.
You just got to keep it on coming, folks, because Mike is going to win, and you are never going to be happier as a constituent of Kitchener Centre when your friends are jealous. That's what's going to happen. That's what happens when you get a Green MP or a Green MLA. Your friends say, "Oh gosh, I'm so jealous. I wish I had one of those really good ones. I'm stuck with," now fill in the blank. Mike, big virtual hug.
Hugs to you, Elizabeth, and Anna-Me again for your support as well tonight. Having, Elizabeth, yourself and Mike and Anna-Me with us tonight has been such an honor. Thank you to all of you that have joined us as well. I think I should be passing it back to Roz, who I think is leading us through this show. But thank you again to all of you for all of your support. I see Candice from Guelph has contributed, from Trail BC, Connie, thank you for your support. Thanks to all of you for this way that you're contributing and supporting our campaign. It means so much. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Mike. Elizabeth, I don't know if you were done there. If you want to keep going, you sure can. We appreciate you
I had a
coming.
feeling people thought that was about a wrap, but listen, please keep on donating. I'm not going to stop you. Keep putting those $400 donations in the chat, $1,000 donations. Remember that you can also donate to the Federal Green Party of Canada. So the maximum you can give is $1,650 to Green Party of Canada federally to run the national campaign, and $1,650 to any combination collectively of local campaigns. And Mike Morris, the Kitchener Centre campaign, Anna-Me is absolutely on the money on this one. We see you joining us in Parliament. I can't wait till I can say, this is the thing about saying the riding's name. I said the other day in Parliament, I can't wait till I can't say Anna-Me Paul's name in Parliament anymore, because you can't name a person by their name when they're a member of Parliament. So I want my good friends to be the Honourable Member for Toronto Centre, the Honourable Member for Kitchener Centre, and of course our dear friends, the honorable members from Fredericton, and I'm a Ladysmith, and we'll be adding a bunch of others. So our goals are not small for the next election campaign, and you're out in front on the fundraising, Mr. Morris. Thank you so much. And Rosalind, I'm going to say goodnight from here. I'll stick around till the end of this party. It's been a great party, and I see a lot of old friends here. Thank you all so much. Merci mille fois pour ton générosité pour la campagne de Mike Morris. Thank you all for your generosity.
Thank you so much for joining us as well, and you managed to translate your energy over Zoom. So that was amazing. And I'm so excited that we not only reached but surpassed that $25,000 goal. It looks like we're going to be safely over $30,000, which is putting us in a really great position to start off and continue doing the good work that has been done by hundreds of volunteers in Kitchener Centre over the last couple of years. Thank you so much to everyone who has come tonight to our, sorry, got an alarm going off. Thank you so much to our musicians who joined us, and to Clarence, all of the other guests, and for all of the attendees coming out tonight. Thank you, Mike. We're all looking forward to continuing to work with you and the work ahead. We have an amazing team of volunteers, but we're always looking for more people to join. So if you're interested in volunteering, if you want to host a community conversation, either through a virtual event with your friends and neighbors, or once it's safe to do so, to do a backyard community conversation, You can certainly book that on mikemorris.ca as well. It's a great opportunity to get some more interactive time than tonight with over 300 people who had registered to ask questions, learn about the priorities that he's working towards in the next federal election. You can also request a lawn sign on the website. And as we end the evening, Mike, do you have any final thoughts?
I was hoping you'd give me one last chance to say some thank yous. First of all, of course, to you, Roz, for emceeing. I also want to say thank you to Devin, who folks haven't seen tonight, but Devin led our volunteer team in planning for tonight's event. Weeks of work behind the scenes. And so Devin, thank you so much for your leadership leading up to this night. And as well, appreciate every contributor, every dollar we raised tonight, as well as the other ways that we've spoken about. Money is one part of building a campaign, but the conversations that Roz just mentioned I've so enjoyed the chances to, even in a small group of 8 to 10 folks in a backyard, to be listening directly to folks. In fact, Mike joined me for one last summer. Mike, it was so great to have you there for one of those. But this is another way for you to contribute. Actually, a number of you tonight have hosted one before already, and would love, whether it's a second time around, or maybe you attended one last time and would want to host one this time. This is the kind of work, these are the kinds of conversations, this is the listening that it takes to understand our community well and to then represent our community well. And volunteering, of course, is another way to be a part of it. So thank you. I think I saw I the Mountain even made a financial contribution. That is very kind of you to the three Matts, to Rory and Allison. And I believe they're going to kind of close us out. So back to you, Roz, for that. Thank you all again.
Absolutely. Thanks again to everyone for joining us this evening. There's lots more information on the website, lots of ways to get involved. We're always looking for more volunteers to join the crew. So take a look and ask any questions that you have through Mike's social channels or through the website directly. As we end the evening, as Mike mentioned, we once again have the live local musical talents of I the Mountain. Thanks so much, everyone. Enjoy them as they play us out of the event, and have a great night.
Thanks so much for having us, everyone. Thank you, Mike. Awesome to see all of the donations coming in. We're I the Mountain. If you have some time, feel free to check us out online wherever you listen to music. This one's called The Boat. Tell your father the witching hour is dead. I woke up restless, watching the time slip away. And the seas are getting rough, and it is getting harder to see your face. Woo, woo. We're halfway there. We're halfway there. Woo, woo. Halfway, we're halfway there. We're halfway there. We'll tell your mother the tide is coming in. I'm walking sleepless, pushing through the storm ahead, yeah. And the seas are getting rough, and it is getting harder to see your face. Stronger than, yeah. We were sinking then, we were different then. the others now. Take it away, other half.
Okay, we've got one more song for you this evening. This song is called Owls, and it's about being together, having your friends and community around you. Are we on? It's not on us. Sorry. The yellow box wasn't around us. Okay, this is Owls. Enjoy your night, everyone. The forest lies covered in weeds, but I've got friends in the highest of places. My love, they'll take all they can. For me, I've got friends in the highest of places. The river has run dry in northern Saskatchewan. The trees are melting, my love. The clear cut anyway. But me, I've got friends in the highest of places. I wish that I could fly. I wish I had some sight. I wish I had some feathers, some wings. I wish that I could fly. I wish I had some sight. I wish I had some talents, some wings, but I've got friends. I've got friends. Yeah, I've got friends. 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 I've got I've got friends. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.